What's going on, everyone? Jay Nelson here. I just got finished watching the E60, the new E60 segment with both the Bennett brothers, Martellus and Michael. Michael being the oldest, the defensive end playing for the Seahawks. I think this was called the Brother Bennett's or the Bennett Brothers. It was something like that. I don't think it was called the Bennett Brothers. I don't think it was something called like that. And Martellus is a tight end. He's playing for the New England Patriots. They teased this as they were showing all the parts everyone was interested in. And that was them being really outspoken and really giving their true thoughts on different people. Jason Witten, Roger Goodell, Jay Cutler, things like that. And it's not too much of that until the end. Now, this is about 30 minutes. I think this ran about 30 minutes, something like that. But it pretty much starts off, if you're a football fan, definitely go ahead and check that out. It starts off with the journalists really going around the table, Lisa Salters and people like that, asking who gives out the most politically correct answers. And I hate when players do that. And they named a couple, Eli Manning, Jay Cutler, guys like that. You know, when you ask them, hey, man, great game. How did you feel? Just take it one play at a time. And, we're going to enjoy this win. And then we're going to get back to next week because, it's a tough game we played. They are great opponents on the other side. That team is great, but we gotta enjoy it for a little bit. And, the next team we're playing, they're going to be great too. So it's going to be a hard-fought game, and everybody did great. And that stuff, that the same answers, and someone said, I don't know who the journalist was that said it, but they said all of them say it. But it's these two players, they're brothers, and they don't do it. And right away, they asked both of the Bennett brothers, a couple of things, what do you think about Roger Goodell? One of them, I think it was Michael, that says he's an overpaid asshole and something else. What is your thoughts about Tom Brady? What is your thoughts about J.J. Watt? Things like that. And that was only for a really quick bit, and then it really goes into their lives. And how they were born, I think one was born in Louisiana, Michael was born in Louisiana, and Martellus, a year younger, he was born in San Diego. Their father was in the Navy, so they were living out in San Diego. And when they were really young, the mother moved back to New Orleans after the divorce. So their father really raised them, and the boys were really, really close, really close. And until Michael had I think it's called appendicitis or something like that. I think I have it right. He started to really throw up, and his puke had a different color to it. So I think this woman, who this woman was in this documentary or the segment, was the father's new wife. I don't think it was their actual mom. I think it was their stepmom. That's what I think the woman is. I'm not too sure. I could be wrong about that. But they did not catch it in time. So it was all these different little toxins released in his body. And he had to go through multiple surgeries. And when he got back out of those surgeries, it took him a year to recover and to begin to being the same kid he once was. And he couldn't play. He couldn't do any of those things. Now, this age 10 now. And when Martellus started to describe how his brother was and things like that, he started to break down. He started to cry, talking about how his brother Michael, who went through the surgeries, could not do any of the stuff they used to do. How he used to play it, they used to play as kids. And they go on and say all the crazy stuff like you and we did as kids, as boys. The ones that are listening to this that are males, crazy stuff. Say how they used to wrestle on the grass and things like that, just like boys do. And Martellus really started to break down. And it wasn't an instant cutaway to give him time they let it roll. And he just sat there and broke down. Michael rubbed the back of his head, and he started to break down. And both of them started to break down, started to telling that story. But with that situation, it even brought him even closer. But when they really, with football and them, they caught fire in high school. That's when they really caught fire. And I think Martellus, the tight end, he was 6'4" at the time. He's 6'6" now. In high school as a junior, number one tight end coming out of high school. And they played their positions, defensive end and tight end, in high school. And after high school, Michael had waited a year for Martellus to finish. He waited a year so they can go to college together. Now, Michael, I think, only got into A&M, Texas A&M. And Martellus, he could have went anywhere he wanted to go. He could have went anywhere in the country. But he decided to go to A&M with his brother, which is very cool. That's really cool. And the brother, Martellus, the younger one, he left college first. And he got drafted 61. He was the 61st pick by the Dallas Cowboys. And Michael stayed for his senior year. But in his senior year, he got 11 tackles and no sacks. So Martellus, the younger brother, the one that the younger one that got drafted before, Michael thought the same thing would happen for him. But it did not. He did not get undrafted to the Bucks. And then it really just went into what they do in their off seasons, where they live and things like that. But just the interesting stuff they thought about Roger Goodell, the NCAA, and the whole Jay Cutler thing, and even the Jason Witten, where he's just, Martellus Bennett is saying, Jason Witten never tried to help him. He would ask him stuff and Witten would just tell him to figure it out. He said he hated Witten because the Cowboys wanted him to be something that he was not. He said he fucking hated Jason Garrett. He said, fuck Jason. He literally said, fuck Jason Garrett. And all how they saying, well, Roger Goodell, he doesn't do anything. He doesn't put his body on the line. And he gets to make all the decisions. They reference as the NCAA being slavery because in some parts in this world, people that work for something, they work for the product, but don't get paid. That's slavery. In some ways, he's right. And in some ways, I do think college athletes should be getting paid. Because it's just too much money. It's way too much money for these coaches and these athletic directors and for the schools to not give the players something. Am I saying millions or thousands? No. But something. Minimum wage, something. But it was really interesting just to hear Martellus and what he had to say about Jay Cutler and saying how Tressman, forgot his first name, Tressman, I think he was a coach in Canada, came to Chicago, and how he got into a fight with someone in I don't think that was OTAs, but it was somewhere in the off season, and he almost got into a fight with wide receiver Brandon Marshall. It was just that the whole thing, every E60 is really interesting, but it's not as big as interesting as the trailer made it out to be. I thought it was going to be a half an hour of them ripping on players, coaches in the league, and a whole bunch of other stuff, but it is not like that. But the short bit they did talk about those kind of things was really interesting. Saying how when John Fox, coach of the Bears now coming from Denver, how he appointed Jay Cutler as leader, as captain. Martellus, I don't know who made him out to be a captain. I don't know. You can't just make someone a captain. They have to be a captain. And that's so true. It's very interesting. It's a very interesting segment, as all these E60s are, like I said. But it's just funny how one brother had it all coming out of high school and college, got drafted. The other one did not. Then the one that did not have all of that, he wins a Super Bowl, been to another Super Bowl. And that's just interesting. That's just how life goes sometimes. Guys, you got to check it out if you're a football fan. Very interesting. Guys are really outspoken. I did not know that about them. Only Michael Bennett, I knew that. But, yeah, very interesting. And, guys, I will catch you on the next video. I'm out.